Hey, welcome back to Real Talk.
With real siblings.
Hey, I'm Joy.
I'm
That's my real
Moses,
sibling, Moses.
and we are here today to talk about our predictions
Woo,
for Big
woo,
Brother
woo,
Season
woo,
22
woo.
All Stars. Let's go. I'm so excited. I know you're
Yes,
excited.
yes, I'm super excited. We're going to be giving you our predictions for the final four. The
Get your
final
money,
four.
go to Vegas,
Yes.
place your bets, and don't hold us responsible if you lose your money. We're going to do our best. All right. So, this is going off of what we currently know, right? Which is we've seen the second episode and we've seen the feeds. We know that Cody's HOH. We know that Kevin and Keisha are on the block. We know who has won the veto and we know who they could potentially use it on and kind of where they're leaning in their strategy. So, from that point is where we're making these predictions. So, our top four, go ahead, sis, lead us off.
I'm so nervous. I've debated and gone back and forth, but I feel really strongly that these four people are going to make it to the final four, and
Wow.
I'll explain why. Okay.
All
So
right.
my final four, and you can hold me to it, put the money on it. My final four is going to be Janelle,
Oh.
Bayleigh,
Oh.
Tyler,
Oh.
and Enzo.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
look,
A lot to
look,
talk
look.
about there. Okay.
I'll tell you first, the person I feel most confident that they are going to get to the final four is Enzo. And let me
Wow.
tell you why. I think Enzo right now is just naturally playing the best social game. Everybody loves him. He's just so funny. He's normal. He's real. Like, he's just, everyone likes him, like, just generally likes him. And so I think he and both sides want to work with him. Like, he kind of has that connection to the old school people with like Kaser and Janelle and Keisha, even though she might not be staying for long. But he has that connection to the old school people. The new school people want to work with him. He's already locked in almost like essentially a final two deal with Cody. So I think if both sides like him and both sides want to work with him, I see them kind of fighting, jockeying to get him to be on their side and him kind of coasting to the end. My only caveat is that as long as he doesn't become like a competition threat and start beasting his way through, I don't think he needs to, and I think he can get to the final four pretty easily. Um, Tyler's playing the same game he played last season in his last season, but like on hyperdrive. Like, he's made so many final two deals, but Tyler kind of has the same charm and like luck in a way, that Enzo does, and that everybody just likes Tyler. Like, every time he leaves the room, they're like, "Oh, Tyler's so cute. He's so sweet," and he just has that innocence, like charming persona that like people want to see him win, even if it's at their expense. So I don't see people necessarily gunning and vying to get him out. Bayleigh is a little tricky because Bayleigh could very well shoot herself in the foot, go off, spit out her teeth and blood and get herself evicted because she's, going off on somebody. But I think, Bayleigh coming in so far, she's super likable. Everybody likes her. She has a great connection with Janelle, Cody, and Tyler. She seems to have kind of reconciled with Tyler, and Tyler's willing to work with her. And Cody likes her, and so does Danny. So I think Bayleigh could stay in this position of not being a super threat and working well with both sides enough that no one's going to target her. So
Yeah.
that's my top four. And Janelle is just, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers for Janelle. I want her to make it to the final four so bad. It could really go either way with Janelle. I'm just hoping that she still has the oomph enough to just, win some of those competitions. So
Damn.
that's my pick.
Bold. Bold. I like that. We actually have one overlap. So
Do we?
yeah,
Oh, I'm so
that'll be
excited.
interesting to discuss. Well, after this, we'll talk about back and forth kind of for what we think about each other's list. But my
Okay.
final four for Big Brother, man, this is weird. So I have Ian, Nicole A, Kevin, and Tyler.
What? What?
Let's start with Kevin because I think he's the most
Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
So here's why I think Kevin's going to make it far. I think, and it's not necessarily Kevin. I think Kevin or Keisha, either one. I think they're occupying the same role right now. I think there's an effect in the house the first week. When the people get nominated, they often either scramble to save themselves or they go into this like passive, I'm a harmless doe mode. You don't need to come after me. I think either strategy, if it works, ends up taking the person very far. If you go into this alliance building mode of protecting yourself, you often end up with friendships of people who they feel like you owe them, right? They're going to keep you around because you have to repay that debt. And you can often play that to your favor. Be like, hey, you guys saved me. Of course, I'll never go against you. On the other hand, if you go into lame duck mode, I think what happens is that you now are looked at as this like passive player. That's what Dan used in his season. When Dan and Brian were up on the block, Brian went home, and Dan just became this bump on a log for several weeks. And everyone's like, Dan, he lost, right? It's a sense of you've been defeated already anyway. And
That's
I think
a good point.
either Kevin or Keisha, I think that's the lane they're going to occupy. And I think they can get them to the end, especially because neither of them are comp beasts. And neither of them are volatile personalities. So I don't see them blowing up their game just by having an outburst. And I don't see them being such a threat later through competition that they need to be taken out at some point. So that was my reasoning for Kevin. Let's do Nicole A
Interesting.
So Nicole A is a tricky one, but I think she kind of fits into that floater lane. She's never really going to be viewed as a comp beast. She's never really viewed as a threat. And I think she's also proving to be friendly enough with most of the house to where if you don't have to get rid of her, there's no need to. She seems amenable. You can always kind of pull her to your side, mainly because I think Nicole Franzel will go earlier. I think she would be the only one really impeding anybody working with Nicole A. So my third choice, let's talk about Tyler, because we did have that overlap, right?
We did.
And I think it's very obvious why we both expect Tyler to go very far. And I think in this season, at least as has been established so far, Cody is unable to hold himself back, which makes perfect sense because he talked about how the reason him and Derek works because Derek was always holding him back, right? Cody, when he wants to win, he can't not win. He's going to do it. He's a competitor. When he wants to say something, he can't not say it. He's going to do it. And so I think Cody is now going to emerge as kind of the alpha male of that side of the house, leaving Tyler in perfect position to be around until Cody gets picked off inevitably. The other problem with Tyler is that he is very good at comps. So the few times he is targeted, when there is no Cody to go after or no Memphis, I think who will emerge as a threat to go after, Tyler will often be able to save himself, or through his incredible social game, which I think the reason he's so effective socially is that everybody likes him, but everybody doesn't realize that everybody likes him, right? It's a very delicate thing to do because I think a lot of players are liked by everyone and they go home because at some point someone will say everyone likes them. Mm-hmm. Tyler does this amazing thing where he's loved by everyone, but nobody realizes it. Nobody knows that everyone else also likes him as much as they do. And I think that's what allows him to get so much further. My last choice is Ian. I was sketchy on Ian this first week because I saw that he wanted to lay low, but ended up not at all being able to throw those competitions. He really did very well. However, I think that's why he's going to go far, is that he's just on another level. I think strategically and intellectually, we know he's a very dominant player. But I think the competitions in Big Brother are kind of geared towards him. Somebody with a great quick mind, a flexible memory, who probably has developed a lot of memory devices and tools to help him, expedite whatever competition he's in. I think he's also, we're not in the house, but I get the sense that people in the house, they find him non-threatening, despite his successes. They find him non-threatening because he's just a small, non-threatening person, right? I think sometimes the fans, we underestimate what it feels like to be around these people. Ian is a small, kind of nerdy, really polite, awkward guy. You're not going to be like, oh, this guy's a killer. He's going to maul. It's just very impossible to imagine, I think, even when you know what he's capable of.
Okay. Oh, those are good choices. Those are good choices. Ian was my honorable mention. Like, I really felt like I wanted to put him in the final four and, he could possibly take Bayleigh's spot, but I don't know. The reason that I knocked him out is because of what he said before he came in, right? So before he comes in the house, like you said, he said he's going to lay low. And then he gets in the house and he almost friggin' beasts through that first HOH competition. And then I think we see him kind of in the house talking about, I'm going to try win competition. So I'm not sure what his strategy is. And if he starts winning competitions, I think people will start to see him as a threat. But interesting. Both of us only have one girl in our final four. I have Bayleigh and you have Nicole A. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
I'll speak about why I didn't. I debated quite a bit about Bayleigh and Devon and how far they would go. My concern with Bayleigh is based entirely off of what I saw from her last season. She's been great this season. And so if she's genuinely a different person, I think you're right. She's going to go far.
She's not a
However,
different person. Yo, when I tell you, I watched her on the challenge. She blacked out on the challenge. She went in on somebody so hard.
and that's what so my philosophy on any show of people returning to compete is that they didn't lose because of their strategy, they lost because of who they are. Is that over the course of 90 days, it doesn't matter what strategy you came in with, who you are is going to be revealed, and that's what happens. And so I think Bayleigh, I don't know if she even had a strategy last season. I don't know if she has a strategy this season, but I think ultimately who she is somebody who, when things really aren't going her way, which will happen in the Brooklyn house, she will implode. And I think that's what's going to happen with her.
That is true. That is true. But here's the thing. If I think Bailey's also capable of winning competitions. And she won a few competitions in challenge, you know, in group setting, but she won a few competitions there. So if she blows up and people think that, hey, there's no way she's going to get votes in the jury because she's made a few enemies along the way, then that might be a good reason to, you know, drag her a little bit further, and then she can get herself further by winning a couple of comps. So
good point.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I agree though. Bayleigh is I hesitated a bit, but I also just like her. I just think she's just funny and crazy to me. So I just want to see her just cause drama, but still make it to the end.
You have Janelle on your list, and I know that that's a bold. It's incredible because it's not a bold choice at all because she's one of the greatest, but it's also a bold choice because we know she has such a target on her back.
Oh yeah.
And my reservation with Janelle is that she is who she is, right? Is that she's a threat. And she can't diminish that threat. And she's such a threat. She's the kind of character that you have to take your chance to take her out when you get it. And the thing is, even if she's not a comp beast this season, you know, she hasn't done great at the existing comps so far necessarily. Even if she's not a comp beast, she still feels like she's going to just wreck the house.
I agree. Unfortunately, I mean, she's an inherent threat. She just is. She has the star power. She's in a star costume. I mean, and you know, she's played more seasons of Big Brother, you know, than literally anybody.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the little bit of a difference here is that she has some people in her corner more so than just Kaser. You know, I think she has Bayleigh in her corner. You know, her and Bayleigh have really been bonding so far, and I think that's going to continue. You know, she has Nicole A. She thinks she has Danny. She doesn't really have Danny. But it kind of seems like right now the only two women that are kind of gunning for her are Danny and Nicole Franzel, you know, so, but I think she can kind of work with the guys like Enzo, you know, Enzo's not against her. Ian's not against her. Kevin's not against her. You know, Keisha, if she stays, is not against her. Memphis is not really against her. Cause she's a great shield. Right. So I don't know. I'm thinking even if she gets put on the block, there might be people in the house that want to keep her as a shield, because look, if Janelle I'm assuming Kaser's going to go before Janelle because historically that's been the case, right? Kaser leaves at some point. Janelle's going to go up. The second Janelle goes up, people are going to come after Enzo. People are going to come after Memphis. You know, people are going to come after Christmas. You know, all the other dominant women. So if they're smart, they might want to keep her in for a bit. But with Janelle, if you keep her in for a bit, she's going to take the run. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right. So now. Final two. So I don't know how we're going to make this decision. I'm sweating now that I think about it. So take your final four, and what happens? How do we get to our final two, and who is it, and who wins Big Brother All Stars?
I think the final two. So I had Enzo, Tyler, Bayleigh, and Janelle as my top four. I think Tyler is certainly final two.
Yeah.
And my second pick is going to be Enzo. I think Tyler and Enzo are final two.
Wow.
But again, it kind of depends on the competition. It depends on, you know, what kind of competitions we're seeing towards the end. If it's anything like, you know, BB21, we might be seeing a lot of physical competitions, you know? So I think if we have those people as a final four, that's going to eliminate somebody like Janelle. I don't think she's going to be able to play against somebody like Bayleigh or Tyler or Enzo, you know, in a physical competition. If it's a mental competition, I think that gives Janelle, but also Tyler, a leg up, you know? So either way, I think Tyler's good. And I think it just comes down to the type of competition we're seeing in the end run. What about you?
I'm so
Who are your
torn,
top
man. I'm
two?
so torn. So I want my top two. In my top four, I think the heavy hitters are Ian and Tyler. There is no way they take each other to the final two. And so I'm trying to figure out what that even looks like in a final four match. So again, my final four is Kevin, Nicole A, Ian, and Tyler. I think in that, the final four week, one of them won HOH, one will win the veto. I think they keep themselves alive that way. So it really comes down to the final HOH, right? That 3-part competition.
Yeah.
And I just think Ian is too good at preparing. I think he's just that's what he does. And I think he'll do it. I think it'll come down to him and Tyler. And I think more of Tyler's friends might be in the jury. So that is an advantage towards him. But I think, Ian is good enough at like really honing in on people and figuring out who they are that he'll be okay if it does come down to that. I think he gets to the final two. I think he takes Nicole A.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm going to be wrong. I know for a fact I'm going to be wrong.
Given your 4, I would think if Ian gets to the final 2, if he can, he should take Kevin.
I don't think Kevin will make it. Sorry. So I think Kevin will probably go in that final 4 week.
Okay.
Over Nicole A.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's Ian and Nicole sitting at the end. I think
wow. That's like a fever dream. Like, what? Ian, Nicole in the final 2. Okay.
I mean, stranger things have happened. We had
that is true.
Mickey at the end of his season. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's how I see it going down.
All right.
We'll see. I'm lacking confidence completely. Saying it out loud is like, that's crazy.
I know. Well, those are our predictions. That's who we think, are going to get to the final 4 and the top 2 of Big Brother All-Stars. Like, these are the best of the best. Whoever takes this crown is going to essentially be known as one of the best Big Brother players of all time. So,
and I think Ian might be the first double winner. I mean, that would make him the first person to win twice if he pulled it off.
That would be amazing.
That'd be nuts.
Actually, you're right. You have a past winner in the top 4. But, we had that last time with All-Stars. We had Will in the top 4. True. He was a past winner.
Yeah.
So.
And we had Dan in his season, in season 14. It managed to be.
Yeah.
Runner-up. Yeah. I think he'll do it. We'll see.
Oh, that's so exciting. I cannot wait, man. I'm loving the way everything is playing out. So this is amazing. But let us know, who are your top picks? Drop us a comment. Let us know who your final 4 is.
Tell us your jury if you want. Hey, we didn't have time to break it down for here, but look, tell us everybody. You can go week by week, do a breakdown. We'd love to read it.
For sure. Oh, man. Okay, so we'll see you guys next time.
On Real Talk.
With Real Siblings. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we will catch you later.
Adios.
Bye.